conditions to operationalize the Partnership Act. She has, on a broad sense, talked about very many issues that were highlighted. There were many conversations that were held with the URSB together with YAVCA and the CMA. But really, thank you again to the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. A round of applause again. Without further ado, allow me invite the Chief Executive Officer of the Capital Markets Authority, Madame Josephine Okoye-Osia, to address us. A round of applause as she comes.
Thank you, Terence. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to see all of you here, but the energy is very low in the room. Is it Friday or the breakfast wasn't good? Good morning. Yes, that sounds much better. The Registrar General of Uganda Registration Services Bureau, the Chief Executive of the East Africa Venture Capitalist Association, the officials from IFAD, officials representing FSD Uganda, the CEO, PAL Capital, and the officials representing the Attorney General, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Terence said that there was a lot of excitement, and indeed, he is warranted to have that excitement. This journey started 5 years ago, and finally this day has come. So we need to give ourselves a clap for that. So 5 years ago, we embarked on a journey to create a facilitative and conducive environment for private capital to thrive as an alternative source of patient long-term financing. So allow me to appreciate the institutions that have been instrumental in this journey, starting with the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Uganda Registration Services Bureau, the East African Venture Capital Association, the Presidential CEO Forum, IFAD, Max Advocates, and Ms. Laura Bira, who was a technical expert of CMA, the First Parliamentary Council representatives, and the team from CMA, and in particularly the Research and Market Development team. Their dedication to policy, legal, and institutional reform is what has made this conversation today. So let's give them a round of applause. But in a special way, I would like to extend my appreciation to the Registrar General of URSB for the development of the partnership regulations. These regulations are critical to operationalizing the Partnership Act and will significantly enhance the legal framework for private equity in Uganda. Uganda has made bold reforms to facilitate private capital, and these reforms are in line with the National Development Plan 3. So really, we are just kidding in at the end of the NDP 3, and also the Capital Markets Plan of Uganda, which prioritizes the mobilization of alternative financing sources through strengthening legal and regulatory frameworks, specifically for private and venture capital. The recently passed capital markets licensing regulations and the partnership regulations provide clear pathways for structuring and registering private equity and venture capital funds within our borders. For the first time, general partners can confidently establish operations in Uganda. The government of Uganda has also introduced tax reforms that significantly improve Uganda's attractiveness for private capital funds, and would like to extend our gratitude to the Ministry of Finance for this effort. This is going to be extensively addressed by the presenters. Together, these measures create a competitive environment for long-term capital formation. In addition to the earlier mentioned effort, CMA has provided support to the private capital space through the establishment of the deal flow facility in collaboration with the European Union and the financial sector deepening Uganda, and has supported over 200 businesses and raised about 6 million from 3 companies, for 3 companies privately. CMA also approved the Yield Fund and Inua Capital, which demonstrated our commitment to enabling the operation of private capital funds in Uganda. The partnership regulations will allow for domiciliation of the private capital funds locally. And from the capital markets perspective, why is domiciliation very important for us? Firstly, it helps to mobilize both international and local capital. Many local investors are more comfortable investing in onshore vehicles. So domiciling funds in Uganda opens the door for participation for pension funds, insurance funds, and other domestic investors, and particularly for the pension funds where they have restrictions on where the Act doesn't allow them to invest outside the region. I think this is a very good opportunity for pension funds. Secondly, domiciliation facilitates direct investment in Uganda's real economy. Funds domiciled here are more likely to support the local SMEs and high growth sectors. And all of you know the value that SMEs bring to this economy. This aligns well with government strategy as outlined in the NDP3 and also in the now tenfold growth strategy, which targets to grow the economy, particularly in the key priority areas of agro-industrialization, tourism, mineral development, and science and innovation. Domiciled funds offer, however, we should note that domiciled funds offer more than capital. They bring expertise, they bring networks, they bring discipline, and their presence can improve corporate governance, boost productivity, and strengthen Uganda's entrepreneurial ecosystem. In addition, it also supports the development of our financial sector. As more funds are established locally, we expect growth in fund administration, legal advisory, auditing, and other professional services, and this creates new job opportunities and builds local capacity. Of course, as I said, this journey started 5 years ago, and it has not been without challenges. Uganda's regulatory and tax environment historically made the operations of private capital funds an uphill task. But today we are seeing meaningful change. The groundwork has been laid, and now we must activate it. As capital markets, our focus is to ensure that Uganda is a well-regulated, efficient, and trusted investment destination. We are committed to facilitating the growth of the private capital space. In line with our commitment, CMA is also keen on adopting a light-touch regulatory approach to foster innovation and growth in the private capital markets. And our legal manager will be speaking to this as she addresses you later. So if you have any specific concerns, please keep the questions for our legal manager who's here with us. In conclusion, facilitating private capital in Uganda is not just a regulatory matter. It's a strategic tool for economic transformation, and it will help unlock investment, power national priorities as outlined in the now NDP4 and the Capital Markets Master Plan, and retain value within our economy. So let's work together to ensure Uganda is not just a destination for capital, but a true home for it. I thank you all, and I wish you all fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Josephine. Josephine, allow me to mention in the room quite a number of persons for you to be able to appreciate who is here. Josephine and Patricia in the room is a representation from the European Union, Christina, who is with us. Just next to you is Stella, a quote from IFAD. But also it's important to let you know that you had a meeting, I think, sometime earlier this week with UDB. UDB is represented here. Taib and Susan. And DFF is also here. There's quite a number of representation from various organizations. But I thought it's important for you to appreciate who's in the room.